Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Ockwell-Smith. Welcome to my latest SOS parenting video. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about why I don't recommend conventional sleep training. So by conventional sleep training, I mean things like pick up, put down, shush pat, rapid return, controlled crying, sitting on a disappearing chair next to a child's crib and then moving it further and further away, or also things like giving reward charts and stickers to toddlers to encourage them to sleep through the night in the whole room. So I don't recommend these for two reasons. Firstly, and this isn't the one I'm actually going to focus on today, which may surprise you, but I don't think these are truly respectful to the child. Sleep is really difficult, isn't it, in the early years for both us and for both children. And you have to ask yourself the moral question, is this really my child's problem, or is this maybe also my problem or a problem of society? You know, there is so much wrong with our society. We don't support new parents enough. We expect parents to work like they don't have children and parent like they don't have a job. But what we need to do is to look at the support networks we have. We need to look at what is around and out there to help with us and how we can make little tweaks in our life a little bit, rather than putting all of the emphasis on change to the child, particularly if it makes the child upset. Now, there is no definitive evidence to show that these types of sleep training methods I've spoken about, as well as the more extreme forms such as cry it out, there is no definitive evidence to show whether this is either dangerous or safe. And I personally believe there never will be, because the sort of research we will need for this would have to last for decades and would be ridiculously expensive. And also, when you're researching baby and toddler sleep, what you're doing is working with tired parents who don't report things correctly, and you've got bias in the way that they respond to the experimenters. So I personally believe that that research will never be there. So it's really important that we understand that no evidence of harm isn't the same as evidence of no harm. So for me, for a moral perspective, I don't agree with it. However, I think there's a more important reason that I don't agree with it, and that is that it doesn't really work. What do I mean by that, you say? Your friends sleep train their child and they slept through in 3 days. Now, the thing is, what sleep training does, and it's very similar to the way we use sort of punishments and rewards for behaviour. I have another video about that if you'd like to watch that. In that it doesn't ever deal with the root cause or the real problem. It palliates. What do I mean by that? So if you have a baby who's waking up really regularly and then you sleep train them in a way that you're basically teaching them to stop crying out after 3 or 4 days in the mistaken belief that they're self-soothing. I have another video about that and why that's a crazy belief. But the thing is, if that baby is waking regularly because there's an underlying problem, rather than it just being normal infant waking, i.e., for instance, if they are in pain, if they have an undiagnosed disorder, if that you're trying to get them to have too much or too little sleep, or there's something wrong in the environment, when we do these sorts of methods that I've spoken about, pick up, put down, disappearing chair, rapid return, spaced soothing, reward charts, we miss all of that. We're basically saying, I don't really care what the underlying issue is, I just want to stop them waking. And we're jumping in at point 2, which is we're trying to stop the problem without finding out what the problem is. And I believe personally, if you're going to put in a lot of work with your child's sleep, surely it makes sense, first of all, to say, why is this such difficult sleep? Why are they waking so much? What is the underlying cause? What isn't correct in the environment or in their routine or in what's happening overnight or in their diet or something physically? If you're not asking why, you're never truly resolving the problem. What you're doing is pushing it further down the line. And I can't tell you how many people sleep train conventionally, babies or toddlers, and they get a good month or two. And then it happens again, they have a regression, and then they have to do it again, and they have to do it again, and they have to do it again. Or very often they'll come to me with a 3 or 4-year-old and say, please help. We did sleep training when they were young and the sleep was great, but now it's terrible, because all they've done is push the problem further and further down the line. What we're not doing when we sleep train conventionally is asking, why is this sleep so difficult? Very often it's just because babies and toddlers don't sleep like us. They wake up regularly, but sometimes there is something else underlying the issue and we don't ever get to find out what it is. And I'll leave you with a quick example of that. Several years ago, I was working with somebody, well, they messaged me and asked me if I could help with their sleep. And it just seemed that there was something else happening. And I couldn't, I'm not medically trained. I couldn't put my finger on it. So I said to them, I think you need to have a chat with your doctor here. I think there's something just more happening. This is more than changing the environment, changing the routine, changing the bedroom, changing, how you get them to sleep. There's something more. And I didn't hear from them again for about a year. And then I got this email out of the blue that just said, Sarah, we just wanted to let you know that you were right, there was something more. Actually, our baby was diagnosed with a tumour in her stomach, and we're so grateful that we didn't do that conventional sleep training because she was in pain. That's why she was waking so much. And imagine what would have happened if we'd done this training and we'd have left her in that pain, and basically she stopped crying out and illustrating it to us. So I know that's a really extreme example, but this is what I'm getting at. When we're doing conventional sleep training or conventional behaviour modifications, so whatever behaviour we're talking about, and we focus on these quick fixes, and we focus on changing the behaviour in 3 days, and we focus on stopping them waking up or stopping them crying, what we are doing is entirely missing the reason why they cry. And fast forward 10 or 15 years, how many times have you had people with a teenager that says, they just don't talk to me, I don't know what's wrong, they won't tell me. But when they're little, what we're doing is we're saying, okay, well, we're not worried about the underlying problem. We just want your behaviour to be easier. And for me, kind of makes sense a little bit that when they're little, if we teach them, okay, whatever the problem, that's fine. We're just going to give you sticker charts or train by moving the chair away or put you down or leave the room for a minute or two. We're starting that training motion from the very earliest of life to make sure that when they're teenagers and they have a problem, they don't come to us to help us deal with the underlying issue. So I think that for me is why I don't recommend conventional sleep training. There's the fact that I don't believe there will ever be research to show that there's no impact in 10, 20, 30 years' time. We can't ever tell what they're really thinking if they can't actually verbalise it to us. It worries me what will happen in the future, but more than anything is it's incredibly naive. It palliates problems rather than solves them. And personally, I'm all about solving problems, looking for the why. Why are they behaving that way? Why is there difficult sleep? If you want to learn more about the why, do check out my The Gentle Sleep book. It's the one that has coloured stars and says revised and updated on the cover. If it doesn't say that, it's old edition. It's a very different book. But do check that book out. If you'd like to tune in for more parenting tips and chat, do hit that subscribe button. I release a new video on here every Wednesday. But otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me. Bye.